morning.
Morning.
First of all, I would like to say what a privilege it is to be here, to be a part of, a small part of the Leadership Institute and the association, and I appreciate being a part of this meeting here. Without further ado, I would like to bring you some facts on the dilemma in South Carolina dealing with the fire deaths, which we are in the top 5 in the United States for fire deaths. This morning, I present to you Mr. Mike H. with Charleston Fire Department. He brings to our group a well-versed fire prevention through numbers. If you know Mike, you understand that. Ms. Jenna Pritchett, South Carolina Firefighters Association, who has a genuine passion for residential fire sprinklers. Mr. Ben Woods, very passionate in seeking out new ways to utilize technology to get fire prevention out. And lastly, myself, Teddy Wolf. I belong to one of the counties that you're going to hear about here today, who has already had 5 deaths this year. I guess I'm not doing my job. All right. 44-year-old homeless man, dead, trying to stay warm. When I put him in his body bag, he was 5 steps from that door. 40-year-old mother of 2 in her bedroom takes medicine to sleep at night to help her sleep because she has medical problems. 50-year-old truck driver involved in an accident, burned to death. How about the 77-year-old grandmother, wheelchair bound, died within 5 feet of the front door. How about the 1-month-old that I had to put in the body bag next to the grandmother because it wasn't enough for either one of them to put in 2 bags?
All right. Now, the next step is recognizing the numbers that we have here. I got these numbers directly off the State Fire Marshal's website. They go back for 8 years. Most of the time when we look at these numbers, we look at individual years. At the end of the year, how many fire deaths that we had in the state of South Carolina. Putting them all together really tells you a story that will blow your mind. Starting, you scroll up. Okay, that's hard to get to the screen. But there are 12 counties in the state of South Carolina that consistently kill a number of people in the 20+ range. So you had, over the 8 years, you had 20+ deaths in 12 counties. Greenville-Spartanburg being the top 2. Those 2 counties alone killed 40+. So there's just something to think about. And that was over the 8 years that the State Fire Marshal's Office gave us on their website. And it's hard to see down here at the bottom, but the number that's really alarming is the percentage of people that die in the state of South Carolina that are over 50, in that 50+ range. And it's just mind-boggling. And it is, every one of those percentages is hard to see, but going year by year, 53%, 54%, 66%, 63%, 70 or 67%, 61%, 58%, 68%, and this year is 68% as well. That's the number of people that we kill in that 50+ range. And how can we make a difference? How can we affect those numbers? Because a lot of times we don't think about that when we look at the numbers as a whole.
All right. So what does all this mean? What does this presentation mean? What is it going to bring home to you? What is the problem? We do the fire prevention, we go into the schools, but we have inconsistent messaging from these folks here, not only the Firefighters Association, all the other fire associations out there. Lack of fire department and community involvement. How in the world will the community get more involved in this? I don't know, but we got to come up with something. And the lack of adult education. As Ben and Jenna has or will be talking about, the age group that we are trying to address is a group that is not being dealt with in today's fire service?
Okay, so what's already out there? There is plenty of information to go around. It's just how consistent is it? And what departments are using what resource? So we have some of the top ones that I know are used throughout the state. NFPA, they were actually at our life safety conference this weekend, filling us in on information. They have a Remembering When program for the older population. They also have apps for kids. They have easy flyers you can access off their website. I mean, they make it pretty easy for fire departments. You can even get social media messages. They already have them written out. You just copy and paste them in your Twitter, Facebook, whatever handle you're using. You also have Vision 2020. Vision 2020 makes it easy for fire departments who are trying to do smoke alarm blitzes. So, okay, you determine, I want to do a blitz. How do I get info? Well, Vision 2020 is out there, and you can get on their website and use some of their information. And all this is free. You also have the State Fire Marshal's Office. They will provide you data and numbers, and they also have hard of hearing alarms. I don't know how many are left, but they do have that grant where if you have a hard of hearing community, which is a problem in South Carolina, you can reach out to them, and they will also help. You also have in South Carolina, which is a big one that is not listed up here, is the Red Cross. But how can we partner with them and get our fire message even more clear? Yeah, they're doing a great job. They're helping us out. They have 50,000 plus smoke alarms that they can come. But what fire prevention messages are you giving to these people when you're going door to door? And then you also have the SC Fire Training website where we can now dump and share information that is South Carolina specific or nationwide. And we are growing that, and that's going to be a one-stop shop. But what's the problem with all this? So we have all this that we can pull from. So what's the issue? Well, the departments and how they're using it. I know Greenville uses NFPA. Will Brocious takes advantage of letting them build flyers, letting them build, and they send them to him. He has stuff at the bus stops, waiting because that's your generation, the lower income. What are they doing? They're riding the buses. So he put out advertisements right there at the bus stops. That's great. We went to a really rural volunteer fire department earlier this year, right when I started working at the Firefighters Association. You want to know what they were using? Freddie the Fire Cap. How old is that info that was put out with our Fire Marshal's Office? So how are we getting information to these fire departments? Because we have to meet everyone. We can't just say, oh, well, go online. Download it. What if they don't have a computer and what if they don't have internet? So how are we going to reach those folks? And how are we going to come up with a consistent message? That way everyone, instead of having to go to the Fire Marshal's Office website and NFPA, but what if you want your logo on it and how does it relate to South Carolina? That's the problem. Okay, you have this national stuff, but how does it affect you? Skip, how does it affect your fire department? The national people don't tell you how many fires that South Carolina has, or that most of them are over 50 plus.
We had a good time at the meeting. It was awesome. And I guess I was one of the lucky ones because I won the raffle, because they have media kits that you can buy for 150 bucks. And there's 100 of each handout in this media kit along with a banner for 150 bucks. I won it. So my department's got it.
But how can we add to it? Could the Firefighters Association say, okay, you have this from NFPA, use it, but we're also going to give you this because it's South Carolina specific. Don't you think that'd make a bigger difference for our state of South Carolina?
I think it would really work well for us.
So I think the dream, SC Fire Training, let's put all these together for our people in South Carolina. Okay, we can use Vision 2020, we can use some of their plans, but we can also use what we know has worked. I was at the Fire Marshal's Office when we had a very proactive team, when we were going door to door, when we were the ones pushing out safety messages, and we were there with you and your fire department putting in smoke alarms. Hello, you're in your community. You're with the older folks. You're with my generation, the 20-year-olds. You get the children that are also in there. You are making personal contact by knocking on the doors and getting out in your community. That's involvement. We need to bring a program back where we can all be out with our fire service, and we need to make it easy for them. We need to put the information from the Fire Marshal's Office in a canned press release that we update the numbers for. That would be a great solution, if you ask me. So So in summary, if you mind, before I start talking about all these solutions, because I think I could go on and on what I think the solution would be. But we'll look at some other avenues. And what I want you to take away from it is we need a statewide presence that gets all departments involved, and they need to have buy-in to what we're selling, and they need that one-stop shop, and it's done. They don't have to fish around. We've already done all that work for them. I'm going to let Ben Woods talk more about other solutions and other avenues that we can pick from other than what's listed here.
Okay, so possible solutions. We could, as you see behind me, there's a list, starting with the Firefighters Association. The next one on the list was AARP, and we could come up with a million solutions as to how to help resolve the fire deaths in this state. But the hardest part is getting buy-in and getting buy-in to using these solutions. And when I called AARP, I talked to somebody on the national level who put me in somebody at the state level. And when they saw my statistics, their minds were blown. They had no idea that 50-plus range was the majority of our deaths. And they felt that we should do something. So the only solution they had right off the rip, where we could reach 65,000 people like that, is a monthly newsletter that they send out via email to people who sign up in that age range. So that's something we could do right now, right this second. And they said they would work with us any way we want. So that's something to consider. Online education would kind of go hand in hand with social media and SC fire training, whether it be online education for citizens. That's the big part right there. We can educate our firefighters all day long, but until those firefighters are going out and educating people, that's the difference. Churches, civic organizations, those would be prime places to reach that 50-plus crowd. You know, there's senior centers, just depending on where we're from. We all know where we're from and what demographics our counties have. So, you know, you'd have to curtail it to your specific area. Social media, we could reach all kinds of people with social media. The 50-plus crowd, they are on social media. They don't so much use it as to communicate as they do just to watch. They'll get on there, they'll read the news, they'll see what's going on in the feeds, they'll look at family stuff and all that good stuff, but as far as posting stuff, not so much, but they're on there. Hospitals and pharmacies we thought of were real good places to reach that crowd. Maybe get with our local hospitals and or pharmacies and figure out ways to get these people information on, hey, did you know you could actually get a free smoke detector? Because that's another problem that presents itself is when you get in that 50-plus range and retirees, they're on fixed incomes. They don't want to spend that money unless they have to, right? So they don't know that they can get a free smoke detector. All they have to do is pick up the phone. CERT teams is another way to get out to help us infiltrate our communities and to get out there and start doing that. You know, I haven't been through CERT training myself, nor have I taught a CERT class. Well, I've been around one that was being taught, and they were being taught how to use fire extinguishers and whatnot. Why couldn't we teach these people how to install smoke detectors? It's fairly simple. And going to homeowners associations around our state and sitting down with them and letting them know about that, we like to call it, as we were going over this, it's an epidemic. We got to stop looking at it as a number. We have to start looking at the fire deaths as an epidemic, and we need to stop and put a huge dent in the numbers. And we could do that by hitting that 50-plus age range. How many of you in this room are chiefs? I want to see a show of hands. All right. The hardest part to come up with for this something, can I go to the next slide? Is it what? All right. All you chiefs, the hardest part for this whole project has been how do we, as 4 individuals, really, and I lost my project, my apologies. Jenny, you got to do better, man. The hardest part of this whole thing was how to do us 4 individuals do something about this. And honestly, this is something that is not just our state's problem, it is nationwide. So how do we do something? And us four, we can't, but we can challenge you chiefs who actually can, because every department has a mission statement, an organizational statement, but, and we, in our statements, we say we're gonna do life safety, education, fire prevention, and we leave it at that. You know, very briefly, you know, when we say we do fire prevention, we say we're gonna go out and talk to people about fire prevention, how to prevent fires, how do we prevent fire deaths, all right? So we're gonna teach them how to install smoke detector, or install smoke detectors for them if they want them. We'll put our number out there, they'll call us. You know, we need to start doing a little more than that. So we wanted to challenge each of you to start adding to your SOGs a prevention statement and lay out exactly how we're going to do it to make a difference in your neck of the woods. Because truly, it's on a state level as well as a local level, and we have to come together to make it work. You're actually sitting in a county that killed 20 plus people over those 8 years. So that's something to consider. And what can we do to change that? That's all I've got.
I would like to add on creating a prevention message. We learned this weekend from Kelly Rainsell from NFPA that we need to start looking at statistics. The problem in South Carolina, we're actually doing our job for children. They've proven that at the NFPA. They're at a lower risk now to die in home fires. But I wrote it down because I was like, this is good, I'm gonna share this. She said, from studies from NFPA, so I think we need to start using this, North Carolina and South Carolina are what they're calling us. We're about to experience the silver tsunami. And that is people from the New England area, they're retiring. They moved to Florida for retirement. But then they're like, we want to come halfway back, so they're calling them the halfbackers. So they come and they end up in North South Carolina. They're halfway back to their family, but it's still warm. So the 50-plus age range is just going to get worse, and I think we need to notify and recognize that now and start getting ahead of the curve. We need to be proactive again on what we're doing with our fire prevention messages.
Thank you. Any questions?
I would like to add one more thing real quick. Going back to the numbers, I gave those numbers to my fire chief, Chief Richard Waring, and asked him to go over them. And he did point out one inconsistency, is that we had several fire deaths in our very own county that were not on there. So somehow, some way, we may even have the fire deaths that are slipping through the cracks. So that's just also something else to be considered, is how accurate those numbers are.